What's up everyone, this is Justin from Makesupply, and in this video tutorial we're putting together the zippered long wallet. If you'd like to purchase this template, it is available in the Makesupply web store or the Makesupply Etsy store. It is currently only available in an acrylic set form. If you don't wish to purchase the template at this time, I invite you to just follow along the build process. Thanks for watching. Okay, let's do inventory for the long wallet project. I'll start with the template set. These templates are only available in acrylic form for this project at the moment, so there is no digital printout. It's only available in the physical acrylic set, in which case you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I'll discuss the template more in the next section. So we have a metal cork back ruler, number 2 X-Acto knife, CS Osborne scratch awl, wing divider. For stitching, we'll be using, these are Saiwa from Goods Japan. This is a 5mm space and 5mm space, 6-prong and a 2-prong. Normally I use the craft tool 3mm ones, but I'm going to use these today. Use whatever you have. For the thread, I'll be using Royal Wood Waxed Irish Linen 7-ply. This is the natural or cream. I think it's just called natural. 2 Tandy stitching needles. Tandy edge beveler, various grit sandpapers, some rubber cement, some saddle soap for burnishing edges, a little cup of water for burnishing edges, some leathercraft wax for waxing the edges, and the leather we'll be using is this black bridle from Thoroughbred. This is about 4 ounces or so. I normally don't like to use the darker leathers on camera because it's a little harder to see, but this is actually all I have right now. I have a leather order coming and it's taking forever, so we'll work with this. I'll use the lighter thread color so it'll be easier to see what we did. And then I forgot the wood slicker for burnishing edges. And then for the zipper portion, so here's a completed one, a long wallet that I'll reference a bunch of times during this tutorial. So the zipper right here, this is a 6-inch YKK zipper. If you can buy these kind of in bulk from a lot of places online, or especially on Etsy. I bought these on Etsy. They come in packages of, whatever amount you want to buy. You can use whatever kind you want. If you want to use a more high quality zipper, you can go with the Riri zippers or something like that. But this is a finished 6-inch zipper, which means from the point of the top to the point of the bottom zipper portion is 6 inches. The rest of this is a little bit longer, probably 7 something. So whenever you read 6-inch zipper, that means the actual zipper portion is that length, and that's what we use for this project. If you don't have a zipper and you can't do the zipper pocket right now, you can just repeat this section twice, and then you just have a long wallet with, a bunch of card slots and 2 long portions. Okay, so now that we have inventory out of the way, I will clear this off, come back, and we'll take a look at the template. Okay, let's discuss the template set, and then we will continue on. Comes in 5 pieces, so you have your body panel, pretty self-explanatory. Then you have your card slots, line up like that. This is just a oversized T slot and a bottom card slot. Then you have the panel piece. So the panel piece will sit on both sides of the template, like this and like this. And it is the point of attachment for the card slots and also for the zipper pouch. So as you can see, there is a line. There's a big open space here. This is where you trace a mark on your leather so your card slot can align. Like that. And then for the other side, it has these holes, which is where you will line up your zipper pouch to attach. So I don't know if you can see this, how it's attached there. Okay. And then you have the zipper portion, zipper pouch, whatever you want to call it. So it has, again, these lines, these holes for alignment. And then in the middle, this is where your zipper will go. Just like that. And you see how it's precisely measured for a 6-inch zipper, so you have to get a 6-inch zipper if you're using this. And then this will fold and make that shape. Okay? So what you're going to do now is you're going to go ahead and trace these shapes. I'm going to do it off camera. I'm going to trace the shapes onto the leather. So when you get to these shapes, trace the inside of there and mark these 6 holes. And on the same here, trace your panel and just mark 6 holes and then mark a score through that section there onto your leather. I'll show that to you on the leather when I come back. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut out the ones that are pretty self-explanatory, just the outside panel and the 2 card slots. And now I'll show you the zipper panel and the zipper pouch and the 2 panels. So I'll start with the 2 panels. You need 2 of this shape. One of them you want to mark just the circles, the little circle points, and the other one you want to mark just the bottom slot alignment. So try to get this on the camera. You can see the top one has just the bottom line scored for the card slot alignment, and then this one here has the 6 holes. Cool. So you have those, both of those, and then on this one, this is the zipper pouch. You have the marking for what you're going to cut out for the zipper, and then marked the 6 alignment holes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these remaining shapes out, and then we'll come back and look at what we have. Okay, so I've finished cutting everything out, so let's take a look at what we have. Again, the only somewhat confusing pieces: zipper panel with the markings, zipper pouch, I keep saying panel, zipper pouch with the markings, the panel for the zipper, and then the panel for the card slots. So kind of put it together here. This one will go on this side, and then this will obviously line up with the bottom on that line, and this will go on here. So that's the easy side, and the trickier side, your panel will go down. You'll see your 6 markings will be right here, your 6 markings here. So what's going to happen is you're going to be putting this inside of here, and then we're going to sew that down, and then we're going to fold it. Well, yeah, so then we're going to fold it, and then those 6 markings line up around where those other markings are, and that gets attached onto like there. Okay, and then that will be our long wallet. So our next step will be to finish edges that won't be accessible, and then we'll start putting this side together, the card slots. Okay, so to finish the edges, I'm just going to be using a little bit of water, a little bit of saddle soap, and a wood slicker. The edges we're going to need to finish are the inside of both panels and then the top of the card slots. You should, if you want like a nice, if you want a nice product, you should finish the inside of the zipper here too. But I'm not going to do it because I'm lazy. I'm not selling this, so if I was going to sell this, I would definitely finish the inside of the zipper. But I'm not, so we're not going to do it. So I'm going to get these out of the way. A little bit of water, a little bit of saddle soap. Again, you can burnish whatever works for you, whatever method and tools. I'm just going to do it quickly. The good thing about this leather is it burnishes very well, so it doesn't take very long. Okay, that's good enough. Then you can go ahead and put a layer of wax. Okay, so I quickly went through and burnished the edges that we needed to burnish. Again, if you want, you can burnish the inside here. It's a little tricky when you get to these sections, but it makes it look nicer at the end. Okay, so in our next step, we will be putting together the card slot section, and then we will move on to the zipper. Okay, so now we will prepare to put the giant T-slot down onto its position. I forgot to put this into the inventory, but if you want, you can skive the bulk down on the bottom of your T-slot, and the corners. So that's what I'm going to do here. This just reduces the bulk and makes it sit nicer. If you don't have this, you don't have to do it. That's good enough. So go ahead, do your skive, and then obviously we'll be lining this up with the line that we scored onto our panel. Take whatever your adhesive is. And line it up. I always do a test with this, make sure everything's good. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to let that glue tack down for a minute, and then we're going to come back, mark our stitching line, and then we'll attach this card slot to the panel. Okay, so I'll let that sit for a minute. I'll find my wing divider and mark an 1/8 inch stitching line across the bottom. Okay, so technically, okay, I thought I moved it. So you can stitch across the whole thing if you want. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to find the middle, take this as where the stitching will be in the middle here, right around there, and I'm just going to find the middle of each card slot, or where each slot would be, and mark some holes, and just do there, and there. So, I mean, that's going to stop the cards coming down anyway. But if you want to go across the whole bottom part, you're more than welcome. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to punch these through, and I'm going to stitch these two lines, and then we're going to come back. Okay, so I went ahead and stitched those two little sections of holes that I made. Now it's time to glue the card slot down. And I almost put it on the wrong side. Okay. Alright, so while that's drying, we're gonna measure out our stitching line in the center here. So, I'm gonna take my scratch off and a ruler. I'll line it up on my grid mat here. And write down 4 inches in. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will be the center. I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with that grid line down the center. Also line it up with the concave section of the card slots. And not on the top, just on from the card slot right here, just mark a small line. Okay. It really doesn't matter how far. You can go all the way down if you want. I always stop like a 1/4 inch to 1/8 of an inch before where this edge of the stitching will be, but it doesn't really matter as long as you go somewhere down in that section. So there's our line. And then I'm going to find my stitching chisel and I'm going to overhang over the end of the card slot there and walk down the line that we just marked with my chisel. Okay, and again, there's no set distance you have to go. It's up to you. So then we have the markings for our holes. So I'm going to let this glue dry for another minute, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to punch through the holes we just made and then stitch this. So I'm going to start one hole over the card slot. It's hard to see. So one hole over the card slot, go back one, and then stitch down, end, and then back stitch twice. And then we'll come back and see what we have. Okay, so I went ahead and stitched down that center line that we marked. And now that'll be the separator for our card slots. And for now, this section is done. That's the easy part. And as you can see, that's how it will line up on the outside panel. Next, we will get down to business with the zipper. But first, I'm going to go eat lunch, and then we'll come back and tackle this. Okay, so our next step will be to put the zipper into the zipper hole, stitch it down, and then get ready to attach it to the panel. Okay, so to do this part, line up your zipper panel with your holes, your little markings on the right hand side. So it's like this. Take your zipper with the zipper at the top, and then that's how it's going to go in here. So zipper at the top, holes on the right hand side. Cool. So first we're going to go ahead and mark our stitching line around this. There's our stitching line. So now I'm going to mark my stitching holes by hand. Actually, let me think about this. Now we don't need to do that yet. So now we will position our zipper inside of the zipper hole. So this one is a little bit of a, you have to feel it out. You know, you want the zipper obviously to be as centered as possible all the way top. You don't want it to be crooked towards one side. So it takes a little bit of maneuvering. And the closer you have, you know, this precisely measured to here, you'll be good. So what I'm going to do is, you don't want to use a lot of glue when doing this because it can seep out. You're just getting enough to stick it, to get the tape to stick down to the inside here. Okay, so now make sure your holes again to the right, and then just plop that right down on there. And center it. Okay. Kind of afraid to pick this up because it's not dry yet, but okay, that's where your glued zipper will be. And now you're going to go and mark your hand pressure around. You can start wherever you want. I usually start somewhere towards the bottom here, but yeah. Cool. So I went ahead and marked with hand pressure around my zipper. So now I'm gonna let this dry for a second, make sure that glue really tacks down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and punch through all the holes I just made. Then we'll come back and then we will stitch it up. Okay, so I went ahead and punched all those holes through. See what we got. And on the back. So as you know, if you wanted a nicer finished look, you could line this with something so you cut the same shape, and then you sandwich the zipper between the two pieces of leather, and then it would kind of hide this, zipper tape, which you can't really see it, but if you wanted a really professional looking high end piece, you would line this and sandwich the zipper between, because then it just looks like, stitched through leather and then leather on the inside too. So that's another option. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stitch around this, come back, and then we will continue on. Okay, so I went ahead and finished stitching that down. Looks okay on the top. A little rough on the back here. You can see my zipper wasn't completely centered because I have a little bit more zipper tape on this side than I do on this side. So that's an error on my part, but what are you going to do? Okay, so if I had any other tips for sewing the zipper down, you can move your margin a little bit closer to the edge. That helps because there's only so much zipper tape and you want to make sure to catch a good amount of it. Also using a little bit thinner thread, and make sure maybe your thread matches the zipper tape as far as, it'll just make it look nicer. There won't be as much distinction between the zipper tape and the thread color. Okay, so moving on. I already filmed this next part, but I didn't like how I explained it, so I'm doing it again. So ignore any of the markings that are on here. For the next step, I'm going to want to mark my stitching groove around the zipper pouch because it's easier to do now than it is when you put it together. So just go ahead and mark a little groove around the whole thing. You can see I already did it. Cool. So now comes the hard part, or one of the hard parts. I'm going to explain a way to do it. If you find a different way, feel free. This is just one way to put this together. It's the way I feel most comfortable doing it, but you can do this several different ways. Long story short, we're going to be connecting this zipper pouch to the panel like this when it's open. We're going to connect it through here by stitching. Then we're going to close it, glue it, stitch it, finish the edges. And then we have our zipper panel section that then gets put onto the main section. And then stitch down again. So with this project, it's actually a lot easier to use an awl than it is to use the chisels, because the chisel is like a nice flat surface, you pound it through. This is going to have a couple pieces in the way when you're marking your holes. So if you're using the chisels, just take your time. Double check where you're punching, double check it's straight. It's going to be a little bit more cumbersome stitching this panel, and then once this gets put down to the body panel, stitching the body panel. Once you do it a couple times, it gets a little easier, but the first time it's a little daunting. So this is how we are going to attach this to this. I'm going to open my zipper at the top. Open the zipper pouch, the zipper at the top. I'm going to take my template and place it over here in place and line up all the edges with the holes on the left hand side. It's not going to lay completely flat because the zipper is probably going to push it up a little bit, but just try to get it to hover over everything as straight as you can. So that looks pretty good. So hold down some pressure. Now what I'm going to do is take my scratch awl and mark through to the leather. I'm going to mark the two outside holes that hole, the bottom one here, bottom one here, and the top one here. So it's kind of like a U. You can mark this one too if you want. All I'm going to be doing is stitching from here to here, here across the bottom, and here to here. This is just going to hold it together, hold the zipper pouch on there when we put it together, and you just need enough to make sure that it stays well secured when people are using it during the day. So you can stitch this whole box if you want to. You can do a smaller box if you want to. It's up to you. So what I'm going to do is mark here, 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 and then take it off. And as we can see, hopefully, I have a hole here, a little marking here, here, and here. So now I'm going to take my ruler and connect these dots with a little line. Okay, so now I have that same design marked on the inside of the stitching, or the inside of the zipper panel, and that'll be the line I'm going to use to stitch. So at this point you have two options. The first option is what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this. You already have some marks on your one panel. I'm going to lay this down and try to get this lined up perfectly. So what's going to happen is the tops and the bottom and around the corner are all going to match up perfectly. So just work it, make sure the top's nice and straight and the corners are aligned. Cool. Okay, so now that is how your zipper pouch is going to lay on the panel. So make sure it's as straight as you can get. And then what I'm going to do is just mark through those holes in the corner into the panel. Okay, just like that, and they should line up basically where you already had your marks, just to make sure that your alignment is good. Now what I'm going to do on this one is the same thing. Cool. So now you also have that same line on your panel. So again, that's going to go on like that and get stitched in that pattern. And then we'll fold this here and stitch that together. Okay. So now you have two options. One, you can put a little bit of glue down here and a little bit of glue down here, glue it down, and let it sit for a minute. Make sure it's tacked, and then punch your holes through. Or you can punch your holes here punch your holes here, make sure they're the same, and then stitch them together without the glue. I'm going to put a little bit of glue. So what I'm going to do is punch through, punch through, punch through, punch through, and punch through. Just on the back so I know where that line is. And now I'm going to go ahead and mark a little bit of glue there, a little bit of glue there. Okay, and now I'm going to put down. Let's get your zipper out of the way. Okay, so that's lined up on there straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold this down and let that glue attach for a minute, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I let that glue sit for a minute. Still want to be gentle with it. There's not a whole lot holding this down. So now I'm going to go ahead and mark, those lines. We already have the line with the holes. Just mark some holes to stitch. Okay, so that is the box that I don't want to lift it up in case it comes apart, but that is the box that I'm going to stitch. You can do whatever you want. Again, if you want to do a smaller box, if you just want to do a single line, whatever works for you. Just note that the closer you get down to this edge, like if you put your stitching closer down, the harder this gets when it's time to stitch the zipper pouch together, and then also the sides of the body panel, because you have to lift it up. So I try to keep my stitching closer to the zipper because it gives me more mobility. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and punch all the way through both pieces, stitch it, and then come back and we'll look at what we have. Okay, so I went ahead and stitched that down. I'll note before, I didn't add these clips in the inventory, but they're very beneficial at that last step. So if you have clips, once you align your piece down, clip it, and then it helps keep it in place. So I'll take the clips off now. I always forget the clips in inventory in every video, but as you can see, I went ahead and punched and stitched. So now, and there's the other side. So now you can see it's attached to the panel and ready to work on the zipper part. I know that last part's pretty confusing, so look, at the end of the day, all you need to do is connect the inside of the zipper pouch to the outside of the panel here and make sure it's straight. So now it's time to finish the zipper pouch. So what we're going to do is fold the zipper pouch, glue it in place, and then we'll mark our stitching holes. If the zipper tape, as you can see, it's hanging off, I don't know how long your zipper tape is. If it's too long, you can cut it. Let me find. Like you don't want it to get in the way of your stitching, so you can always just chop that stuff off. Okay, so at this point, clips are absolutely essential. Of course, I forgot them in the intro, but get some clips. They're just regular old binder clips. Okay, so I went ahead and clipped that down. Now I'm going to let it sit for a minute, and then we'll come back and we'll mark our holes. Alright, so I'll let that sit for a couple minutes. Should be good. Okay, so now I'm going to walk down the line with my stitching chisel to mark my holes. This section's basically one long curve, so I can't use the straight chisel. I wish I could, it would save time. That's good. Okay, so as you can see, all my holes are marked. So this is the part where, again, now it gets tricky. You want to punch, if you're using chisels, you want to punch through, but you do not want to punch through this part. See? So, it's easiest if you, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, I guess you can't. Say this is the edge of, here we go. Say this is the edge of your table, or the edge of your punching surface. Hang it over and put, sandwich that into there, so then you can punch this. Same over here. It gets a little tougher over here because there's not enough space. There's not as much space. Again, you want to punch all that through, but you don't want to punch through this. Keep this out of the way. Okay? So this is why I said it's easier if you have an awl, because if you're just sitting with the awl, you can just move it out of the way. Alright, so whatever method you're using, go ahead and punch through all these holes. Do not punch through this. I'm going to do that, and then we're going to come back. Okay, so I went ahead and punched all those through. See it didn't punch through anything on that one. So if you went through that for your first time, yes, it is a major pain. This style is often done, it's more of like a Japanese style. And a lot of the time they pre-punch everything, so all these holes are already punched out and all you're doing is stitching them together. So it makes it a lot easier as opposed to putting this together first and then punching this. So that is one of the hardest parts. There's only one more equally hard part, and that's doing the same when attaching it to the body, but after that it's smooth sailing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is stitch this and then come back and we'll continue. Okay, so I went ahead and stitched that up. And now it is time to do the edges of the zipper pouch, and then we'll be ready to put it together. Alright, so start off, let's do like some sanding. Okay. Take my edge beveler. Oops. And do the inside too. Okay. Take some water and some saddle soap. Okay, and you guys know the edge drill by now. Spend as much time as you want getting them nice. I'm just going to stop there, put a little bit of wax. Cool. Okay, so now we have our zipper pouch all done. Next, we will, well, this time you can kind of choose which one you want to put on first. It really doesn't matter. We're gonna glue down the card slot panel. Then we're going to glue down the zipper panel. And then we'll be ready. But first, because it's a little bit of a pain to trace your groove on the outside when you have these on there. So I'm going to do it with it just by itself. Okay, so I just made my 1/8 inch groove on the outside. Okay, so I'm gonna take a quick break and then I'm going to glue down these pieces. Alright, let's get the glue in here. First I'm going to sand around the edges of this piece just to make sure everything's nice and flat. Good. Make sure you have it in the, this back piece is a little longer than it is wide, so make sure you line it up the right length. It's very similar, but it's like a 1/4 inch longer than, or a 1/4 inch, yeah, higher than it is wide. Okay, glued that section down. I'm going to let that sit for a second, come back, glue the other one. Okay, so I'll let that sit for a minute. Just going to take some clips, drop them. Ugh. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do now is take these clips off, sand around the outside just to straighten up the edge all the way around. Watch out for your already finished edge on the zipper pouch, you just got to be careful. And then mark an inside groove around the piece. Okay, so it's time to mark our stitching holes. So you can do this one of two ways. The traditional way of putting together most leather goods is the outside, and is how I normally do it. Punch from the outside all the way around. Obviously, this section will be normal. Once you get to this section, you have to watch out to not punch through this. So again, it's kind of the same with when we did the zipper pouch. Hang it over the edge, get it in there, and punch. Just don't punch through this. Or you can do it from the inside out, which I've seen more people doing nowadays. I'm going to do it that way for this project. One, I kind of like the idea that, if I'm going to be showing off my stitching, all of it is in the same, this is the inside, this is the focal point. So the nice stitching, the front will be in plain view. But if you want to do it from the outside, that's fine. That's the normal way of doing it. For this project, I'm going to do it from the inside. Okay, so pick a place to start. I'm going to start in the bottom corner under the zip pouch, just because that is, maybe I won't. Actually, I'm going to start over here, because when this is closed, this is the front, and I want the double start to be somewhere over here. It's a little tricky once you get to this section. Kind of got to get the zipper pouch, bend it out of the way. Okay, so I went ahead and marked all my holes. And if you did it from the outside, your holes will obviously be marked on the outside. So now I'm going to go through and punch all these holes and then stitch it up. I'm going to start here, stitch all stitch all the way around, come here, back stitch twice, and then we'll come back and look at it. Okay, so I went ahead and stitched up the beast. Okay, so at this point we're finally done stitching. It's great to be done. Now we have to just go ahead and finish the edges and we're good to go. So like I normally do, I'm just going to go over it with the sandpaper again. Get off any remaining residue. And then I go ahead with the beveler, go around. On the other side. Okay, so you can repeat your burnishing as much as you want. I'm going to stop there and take a look at what we got. Also, you can go ahead and wax your edges when you're done. And now we can check out our wallet here. It's got a nice zipper pouch. Put some change in there. It's got a slot under here for cash. Another one over here. Plenty of space for cash. And that will conclude the long wallet template build. If you have any questions, you can email me directly. You can leave a comment on the blog, leave a comment on the YouTube video, leave a comment on Facebook, do whatever you need. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this one, it's a little confusing, especially the zipper part, but once you do it once, the second time around, it's a lot easier, and it gets easier each time. Hope you enjoyed.